Hello to everybody. Today I'm talking about marriage and commitment in traditional astrology. This topic about marriage, commitment, and long-term relationships have been a central topic to human society across centuries. And astrology offers deep insights into these bounds. Traditional astrology, rooted in ancient systems such as Hellenistic, medieval, and Renaissance astrology, approaches the topic with very clear symbolism and a wealth of interpretative techniques. In the ancient world, marriage was often less about personal romance, but more about social contracts, property, and alliances. Traditional astrology reflects this, as marriage and commitment are seen in a broader sense, encompassing legal bonds and partnerships, rather than purely emotional or romantic connections. We maybe need to read some history about past of humanity, because if we read it, we will discover that before this marriage to become something normal, the people used to get involved in relationship in a chaotic way. I mean, you are in falling in love today with somebody, you are saying and promise that you will be together forever, but after a few months, the woman become pregnant, men want to release himself about the relationships, and generally speaking, used to be a mess in both families of these young people. That's why a big role to establish some rules and to avoid the chaotic way of situations used to have religion. I mean, actually, church. And now I'm talking about Christianity because I am a Christian and I know more about this history, about this. And because it was used to be lack in legislation, and especially Catholic Church used to have a big role in organizing the society. I'm not talking here about that it was good or bad. We need to take in account these situations. In astrology, marriage was historically ruled by the seventh house, especially first marriage, because nowadays we can be married, divorced, again married, and so on. This seventh house governs partnerships, both romantic and business related, all kinds of relations. This house is one of the angular houses that are very active and very powerful, giving it strength and prominence in the birth chart. In the same time, Venus is the planet of love and attraction, but also the planet of money. We don't need to forget that in the past, but not only in the past, even in the present, most of the marriages are very linked also with the financial situation. Because the main target of marriages used to be families to unite and become more powerful, including due to financial situation. So Venus is governing love and attraction, but also money. In the same time, Saturn, the planet of time, structure, and discipline, represents the enduring, long-term nature of marriage and commitment. It may not be as romantic as Venus, of course, but is important in determining the longevity and stability of an union. Let's do not forget about something. As you know, Saturn means also limitations. What is happened when we get married with somebody? We cannot be free as bird as in the past. Okay, we can be free in a relationship, but you need to take account, as actually the couple should need to take account both sides' needs and whatever. You cannot do whatever you used to do before marriage. So there are some limitations. Also, the marriage is coming with a responsibility and with clear roles of each person in the family. This is not good and not bad. This is the situation generally speaking. Here I'm not talking about open relationships, not because they are not relationships, but they are a kind of different nature of it. Which is the role of Venus in marriage? It's very important, the significance of dignities. The placement of Venus in terms of dignity, I mean rulership, exaltation, detriment, or fall, offers insights into how love and relationships are expressed. For example, Venus in Taurus is in domicile, suggests a stable, sensual, and grounded approach to relationships. Whereas Venus in Scorpio, in detriment, can indicate passionate but potentially tumultuous love affair, with possessiveness, jealousy, toxic relationships. It's very hard to deal with Venus in Scorpio. Only if you are a Scorpio, maybe you can understand this. Also, Venus position in a chart sparks to the type of partner that we are attracted to and how affection is expressed. For example, a well-placed Venus suggests harmony and ease in relationships, while a debilitated Venus can signal challenges in finding or maintaining harmony in relationships. In predictive techniques like progressions or solar returns, Venus plays a crucial role in indicating periods when relationships and love matters are activated. It's not like we are not active in our love relationship all the time, but sometimes it's more activity, more involvement. If Venus is particularly prominent by aspect or placement in such charts, it often marks a significant year for love, marriage, and financial matters. Don't forget about this. When it's about 7th house, because it's the most important house, when it's about marriage, long-term commitments, but also all kinds of commitments. 7th house traditionally is ruled by Libra, and this house governs not only romantic partnerships, as I said, but also other significant one-on-one relationships, such as business partnerships and open enemies. Actually, I don't like to use the word enemy. I prefer to name them competitors. Let's see which are the marriage indicators in the 7th house. The ruler of the 7th house gives vital clues about the nature of one's future spouse and the dynamics of the marriage. For example, if the ruler of the 7th house is Mars, the relationship might be passionate but prone to conflict. If it's Jupiter, it could be more expansive and optimistic. Planets located in the 7th house directly influence the marriage dynamic. Venus in the 7th house typically indicates a harmonious and loving partnerships, while Saturn in the 7th house may bring delays, responsibilities, or lessons regarding relationships. The aspects made to the cusp of the 7th house or to its ruler play a significant role also. For example, a trine from Jupiter to the 7th house ruler suggests ease and good fortune in relationships, while a square from Mars could indicate tension or conflicts in the marriage. Techniques such as profections and solar arcs often use the 7th house to determine the timing of marriage. When the 7th house ruler is activated by transits or progression, significant relationship developments such as engagement or marriage often occur. Saturn, known as the Great Malefic in traditional astrology, governs time, endurance, and structure. While Venus represents the joy and beauty of love, Saturn represents the commitment and structure that sustains a marriage over time. In this way, Saturn is essential for understanding the long-term viability of relationships. Even nowadays, the relationship are not so long as in the previous periods of the history. This is not so important. It is important the experience and the lessons that we have learned during these relationships. And the quality. The quality is very important, and the people often forget about this. Let's see which is the role of Saturn in marriage. Saturn's influence on marriage is not about the initial spark of love, but about the endurance of the relationship. Saturn, in a strong position or in aspect to the seventh house or its ruler, can indicate a long-lasting, stable marriage. Saturn represents duty and responsibility. When strong in marriage charts, it suggests that both partners take their commitment seriously and are willing to work through difficulties over time. If Saturn is afflicted in the natal chart, it can indicate delays or difficulties in finding a partner or challenges within the marriage. However, once Saturn's lessons are learned, it can also represent a deeply loyal and committed partnership that stands the test of time. Saturn's transits and progressions are crucial for understanding the timing of significant relationship milestones. Saturn's transit of the seventh house cusp or to Venus often signals a period of commitment, whether through marriage or deepening a long-term partnership. In traditional astrology, several techniques can be used to predict the timing of marriage or significant relationships. Primary directions. This technique involves directing planets and angles through the zodiac by degrees, offering long-term predictions about major life events, including marriage. Solar returns. A solar return chart provides insight into the themes of the year ahead. A strong seventh house or Venus in a solar return chart often indicates a year when marriage or commitment will become a focal point. Profections. Profections activate a specific house each year. When the seventh house is activated, relationships and marriage often come to the forefront in a person's life. If Venus or the seventh house ruler is also activated by progression or transit, it increases the likelihood of marriage during that year. Firdaria. This timing system divides life into periods ruled by planets. When Venus or the seventh house ruler comes into play, marriage or significant relationships are often emphasized. In traditional astrology, synastry and the composite charts are often used to understand relationship dynamics. In synastry, the aspects between two people's planets, particularly Venus, Mars, Moon, and the seventh house rulers, are vital for understanding attraction, harmony, and compatibility. Favorable aspects between Venus and Mars often indicate a strong romantic connection, while Moon and Saturn aspects can signify emotional security and long-term commitment. A composite chart, which averages the planetary position of two charts, shows the nature of the relationship itself rather than the individuals. A strong seventh house or Venus-Saturn aspect in a composite chart indicates a relationship built of mutual respect, responsibility, and long-term goals. In predictive astrology, transits, progressions, and directions often activate marriage or significant relationships when Venus or the seventh house or Saturn are involved. Transits of Venus to key points in the natal chart, especially the Sun, Moon, or seventh house ruler, often signify periods when love and relationships are highlighted. A Venus return can also indicate a time of romantic renewal or significant relationships development. Saturn transits to the seventh house cusp, Venus or Moon often signal a time when relationships become more serious or when long-term commitments are made, while Saturn transits can sometimes bring challenges or delays. They also offer opportunities to strengthen relationships through discipline and responsibility. When the seventh house or its ruler is activated by transit, progression, or direction, marriage or significant relationships are often highlighted. This is particularly true if Venus, Saturn, or Jupiter is involved, as these planets represent love, commitment, and expansion, respectively. Saturn's role in marriage charts is often misunderstood as purely negative, but in reality, Saturn brings necessary challenges that can strengthen a relationship. When Saturn makes difficult aspects in synastry or a natal chart, it often requires the individual to confront fears of vulnerability, trust, or abandonment. The Saturn return in relationships around the age of 29 or 30, Saturn returns to its natal position, shows significant life events, including marriage or the consideration of current partnerships. For many, Saturn return brings a sense of maturity, forcing individuals to reevaluate their long-term commitments. When Saturn transits the seventh house or aspects Venus, it often brings a period of testing in relationships. However, for those willing to face the challenges, these transits can lead to deeper and more lasting commitments. Actually, you need to look to the challenges as a kind of opportunities. What kind of opportunities? To get better in relationships, to strengthen the relationship, to understand the profound connection that have been built in relationships. Of course, when the test is not passed, people are feeling commitment as a prison, want to run away, to release themselves. But this means that both parties are not willing anymore to work for building and continue the relationship. Saturn's influence can be linked to the process of crafting a diamond, while the pressure and the difficulty may seem overwhelming at times. The result is often a stronger, more enduring partnerships. Relationships forged under Saturn's guidance are built to last. While Venus and the seventh house are crucial for understanding the romantic and legal aspects of marriage, inclusive the financial part, the moon represents the emotional fulfillment and nurturing qualities within a relationship. In traditional astrology, moon governs one's emotional needs and how these are expressed in a relationship. A strong relationship between Venus and the moon in a chart, either by aspect or mutual reception, suggests emotional harmony and a sense of shared nurturing within a marriage. A well-placed moon can indicate that the partners find comfort and emotional satisfaction in each other, making the relationship not only a legal or romantic bond, but also a deeply emotional connection. On the other hand, difficult aspects between Venus and the moon can point to struggles in balancing emotional needs and romantic desires. For example, if Venus is in Aquarius and the moon is in Scorpio, the person may struggle to balance the desire for independence, Venus in Aquarius, and need for space, with the need for emotional depth and intensity, moon in Scorpio. The moon's phases and progressions also offer insights into the timing of marriage or significant relationship changes. A new moon or a full moon near the seventh house cusp or in aspect to Venus can signal new beginnings or culminations in a relationship. Similarly, progressed moon phases often coincide with emotional growth and changes in relationship dynamics. In traditional astrology, the planets are categorized as benefics or malefics, with Jupiter and Venus as benefics and Saturn and Mars as malefics. What means benefic? It means that bringing easy, fortune and ace. Malefic means that is associated with challenges and difficulties. While these distinctions may seem stark, both benefic and malefic planets play crucial roles in shaping a well-rounded marriage. When benefics such as Venus or Jupiter are placed in the seventh house, it generally indicates a marriage that brings joy, expansion, and pleasure. Jupiter, as the great benefic, often signifies abundance and good fortune in relationships, while Venus brings love and harmony. When Saturn or Mars are in the seventh house, can indicate struggles, but also offer growth and endurance. Saturn, in particular, can be a stabilizing force when well placed and during the relationship is built on solid foundations. Mars, while traditionally considered a planet of conflict, can also bring passion and action to the relationships. And passion is very important, and intimacy. The K in traditional astrology is balance. A relationship with only benefics may be easy, but lack depth, while a relationship with malefics may be challenging, but offer profound growth and endurance. One of the most significant astrological configurations in marriage is the aspect between Saturn and Venus. This aspect often shows the balance between love and responsibility, and it can deeply influence how a person approaches long-term commitments. When Saturn conjunct Venus, often signifies a serious, disciplined approach to love. The person may be cautious in relationships, but once committed, they take their partnership very seriously. This aspect can bring challenges, particularly around expressing affection, but it also suggests loyalty and endurance in love. When Saturn square Venus, can indicate a conflict between the desire for love and the fear of vulnerability or rejection. Relationships may face hurdles, particularly around trust and emotional expression. But if these issues are worked through, the partnerships can become stronger over time. Saturn trine or sextile Venus. This harmonious aspect suggests a relationship that balances love with responsibility. The person is likely to approach their relationship pragmatically, ensuring that is built on solid foundation. This aspect often indicates a marriage that is both loving and enduring. So, look in your natal chart. Where do you have the seventh house? Where is Venus? Where is Saturn? Where is the moon? What kind of aspects are forming to each other? And then look in your partner chart. And then look in your synastry, how these planets and house are related to each other. And if you go forward, you can look also to the composite chart. If you need a relationship interpretation of the charts, synastry, composite chart, the aspects of the transits, current transits and future transits, you can write to me down below. I'm waiting also your comments and questions about this topic. Until next time, I wish you happy relationships. Bye bye.